गुरुभ्यो परमगुरुभ्यो स्वरगुरुभ्यो नमः। श्रीरंगनाथगोपैतीले दक्षिणं सुरेश करने के पात्रं श्रीरंगवीर रघुनाथ गोपसुज्यं वेदांत देशकीर्तनमहं प्रपद्ये श्रीमते श्रीरंगगोपस्य वेदांत देशकीर्तन नमः देशिकाय नमः। ओम अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः स्वतरगुरुभ्यो नमः। ओम अस्मत्सर्वगुरुभ्यो नमः। श्रीमते निगमान्तमः देशिकाय नमः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं दैवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्। श्रीमते निगमान्तमः देशिकाय नमः। श्रीमते रामानुजाय नमः। यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुक्म व्यामोहत तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोः भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये। नरेण Mahabharatam, an ocean when it comes to following dharma, when it comes to following acharam, varnashrama dharmas. Last time we have seen that nobody was prepared to answer the question of Draupadi. Okay. We have another instance of dharma where many people have different
Acharya,
ideas.
sorry, Acharya. So in that sabha, when Dhritarashtra he starts the Bhagavad Gita, he starts with Dharma Kshetre, meaning he knows about Dharmam. Why did he keep quiet during that time, as if he didn't know Dharmam?
Okay, hold on. We are not yet there, Bhagavad Gita. So go ahead to the question.
No. Question is, why didn't the Dhritarashtra talk anything about Dharmam during that time to Draupadi?
Dhritarashtra did not say anything except, did I tell you that Dhritarashtra only gave some boons to Draupadi? Only gave some boons to Draupadi. When he was literally scared to death that this Bhima is a very, very angry person, he took a oath that he will kill Dushasana and drink the blood from his heart. And Bhima took a oath that he will break the thighs of Duryodhana. That made Dhritarashtra shiver. Dhritarashtra pacify. He requested Draupadi to ask for anything she wants and he will give. Draupadi requested, since you asked me to ask you, make sure my husband Yudhishthira, who is a Dharma Murti, is not a slave of your son Duryodhana. Because Duryodhana declared Yudhishthira is his slave. I don't want a very honorable person like Yudhishthira to be the slave. Release him from the slavery of your son. Dhritarashtra said, granted. Dhritarashtra was still scared of Bhima. To pacify, because he knows everything started because of Draupadi. So if you pacify Draupadi, everything will be fine. That is his idea. So Dhritarashtra is a perverted intelligence. He enjoyed the game of dice, gambling. Every time the dice are thrown, Dhritarashtra's first comment, who won? Who won? Who won? Indicating, isn't it my son who is winning? So now he wanted to pacify and requested her to ask for a second boon. Draupadi said, make sure that my other four husbands also are not slaves of your son Duryodhana. Dhritarashtra said, granted. And again, in his extreme concern for his sons, he said, Draupadi, ask for a third boon also I'll give. Now look at Draupadi. In spite of being in such a pitiable condition, horrible condition, quite frightening condition, Dharmam, Draupadi teaches Dharma to Dhritarashtra. Thank you for your generosity, sir. I am following real Kshatriya Dharma. For a Kshatriya woman, asking more than two boons is not permitted. You have already sanctioned me my two requests. If I ask for a third boon, I will be degrading myself from the path of Dharma. I will not do that. She even goes to the extent of telling, if that lady is following Brahmana Dharma, she cannot ask for more than one favor. If she is following Kshatriya Dharma, she cannot ask for more than two favors. So she says, I will not degrade myself. Then Dhritarashtra himself voluntarily wanted to make sure everything is normal, called Yudhishthira and said, Draupadi requested, I granted, you and your brothers are no longer slaves. But on my own accord, Yudhishthira, I am giving you additional boon. Whatever property, kingdom you lost to Duryodhana in today's gamble, I am giving you back. Take it and go away. Go to your place, Indraprastham, and be happy. But Duryodhana went and shouted that night at Dhritarashtra. Arguments. Finally, Duryodhana convinced Dhritarashtra that what are all the tricks played by Duryodhana to take away the property of Yudhishthira, etc., are lost because Dhritarashtra gave it back. So Dhritarashtra was convinced that the next morning he should immediately call Yudhishthira back to the assembly hall and play one more game of dice. And in this time, in this play, no Draupadi, no bet, no humiliation, just one game. Bet the people who lose the gamble should go and live in the forest for 12 years. 13th year they should live in an unrecognized way. If they are recognized during that 13th year, they should go back to the forest again for 12 years. Recurring condition. Agreed. Yudhishthira was surprised that Dhritarashtra was calling. The messenger said, the king Dhritarashtra is calling you again to come to the assembly hall. You don't know the royal protocols, how they worked there those days. And Yudhishthira decided during the Rajasuyam he will not do anything to aggravate the situation that Yudhishthira is responsible for the genocide, for the killing of the entire Kauravas and Pandavas. He agreed, he came back. Again the challenge from Duryodhana. Just one game, no humiliations, no bet, no kingdom, no property, only 12 years Vanavasam, 1 year Ajnatavasam. You must play. And Dhritarashtra is watching. Watching means he doesn't have the eyes, but he is listening. At the Vidura Neeti, Vidura says, that day I told you 100 times to stop the gamble, but you never stopped. So Dhritarashtra behaves like a very pious man, but in fact, his excessive attachment to his son Duryodhana made him a puppet in Duryodhana's hands, and all the evil intentions of Duryodhana are given an official coloring by Dhritarashtra. Therefore, Dhritarashtra we can never trust. Is that clear, sir?
Yes, Acharya. Thank you.
So Dhritarashtra says Dharma Kshetre, but he doesn't follow any Dharma. Now, Mahabharata gives us another beautiful instance of organ donation. Why we are taking so long is literally because I'm going chapter by chapter in Mahabharata to see where and how those people followed Dharma. Now, there was a great Maharshi Lomasha whom Yudhishthira and others met during their Vanavasam. And during that time, Lomasha was giving instructions to Yudhishthira on Dharma, etc. When it came to Devatas and Rakshasas fighting, there was a great Rakshasa by name Vrutrasura. There was no way Vrutrasura could be killed. So Brahma gave a solution to the Devatas. There is a great Mahatma called Dadhichi. He is a great Mahatma. Ask him, he will give you anything. He says, Tam Gatva Sahitah Sarve Varam Vai Samprayachata Savo Dashyati Dharmatma Supritena Antaratmana. You ask now about Dharma Kshetre Dharma. Dharmam should be like this. Dharmatma Dadhichi is so generous. He will give you anything you ask for. If he can, he will give you. The minute he says, ask anything, you people beg, give me your body for the welfare of all the worlds. He will just give away his body to you. Collect the bones from the backbone of Dadhichi. Let Vishwakarma make the best of the best weapons called Vajrayudham. All the tapashakti of Dadhichi Maharshi are there in his bones, and the Vajrayudham will be so powerful, Vrutrasura can be killed. And that Vajrayudham, Shadashram Bhimaniswanam, is a hexagonal in shape with the 6 sides or 6 sharp edges. Maharshis came and begged Dadhichi for his bones. When Dadhichi saw all the Devi Devatas coming and standing before him, Devatas prayed for his body. Dadichi said only one word, Karomi yadvo hitamadya devaha, svanchapi deham swayam utsujami. How to follow Dharma? We have to learn from Dadichi. Dadichi said, don't have any hesitation. Karomi yadvo hitam ajya devaha. I will do anything that will be helpful, everything to the devatas. I will gladly give up my body. Gladly give up my body. And so decided, Dadhichi went into pranayamam, allowed the Jivatma to escape from his body. And the body is there right in front of the devatas for them to use. So, organ donation is permitted in our dharma. If you feel that you are in good health and you can donate your body parts, or you want to write a will, please do that. Organ donation. We are not asking for the whole body donation, and that too while you are in very good healthy condition. At least when you die, the organs that are still useful for other people may kindly be donated. Because some people have some kind of idea it is not permitted in our scriptures. How can we do that? Person should have dahana samskaram. These things are not valid. So you don't have to worry to do avayavadanam, organ donation. Now, another aspect we come across in Mahabharata that talks about dharmas is, in Mahabharata you might have heard of a small incident. During their vanavasam, one day a flower, Saugandhika Pushpam, came the way of Draupadi, and Draupadi wanted more of those flowers. And Bhima went in search of the Saugandhika flowers, and there he comes across Hanuman. Yeah, you might have heard of it, Hanuman. And Hanuman is teaching the Yuga Dharmas to Bhimasena. Unimaginable but true. Hanuman is teaching about Yuga Dharmas. Hanuman says there are 4 yugas. First one, Krita Yuga. Dharmam is there on all the 4 feet. Everybody followed their dharmas. Hanuman is telling, Kurtamena nakartavyam tasmin kale yugottave. In Krita Yugam, everybody did their duty so perfectly. You know the very name Kruta Yugam, how it came Kruta Yugam? Kruta means Krutan, Kriyamanan, Karishyamanan, Krutan. The job is already done. Job done. Duty is done. Kruta Yugam. Everybody completed their ordained dharmas perfectly. Kruta. Everybody did, nothing left. That's why it's called Kruta Yugam. Dharmas followed. Dharma acharana done. Kruta means done. Every dharmam is followed, therefore Kruta Yugam. Again, the specific features of Kruta Yuga. Hanuman says, Natatra dharma sidanti kshiyanti sacha vai prajaha. In Kruta Yugam, dharma was never on the decline. And the proof of it is when the parents are alive, no child ever died in Kruta Yuga. And in Kruta Yugam, Deva Danava Gandharva Yaksha Rakshasa Pannagaha Nasan Kruta Yuge Tata Tada Nakraya Vikraya. This is something interesting. There, even though they belong to different categories among the devatas, like devatas, danavas, gandharvas, yakshas, etc., they never had any enmity with each other. And most important thing, neither there was selling nor there was any buying. Some people did agriculture. They gave the grains in charity to other people. Charity. Kings protected the country. People gave voluntarily some amount to the government. Nobody sold anything. At the most, they might have bartered. If they had too many vegetables, they might have bartered them for some rice, for some clothes, etc. Nobody sold anything, nobody bought anything. Now, in Satya Yuga, Kruta Yuga, there was no need even for cultivation. There was no need for cultivation. You don't have to go and plow the land. You just throw some seeds. That's it. Plants will come. The crops will be there in plenty. Fruits will be plenty. And the only dharmam they followed is tyagam, voluntary renunciation. Do everything. Karma phalam, they renounced. So, in Kruta Yuga, there was no fear of coronavirus. There was no fear of heart attack. There was no fear of poisonous fevers. In Kruta Yugam, there was no jealousy. There was no hatred. Bhagavan Sriman Narayana was there as the only one Aradhya Daivam in Kruta Yugam, and Sriman Narayana was there in Shukla Varnam. Kruta, Treta, Dvapara, Kali Yuga. Bhagavan's color, body color, are Shukla, Rakta, Pita, Krishna. In Kruta Yuga, everyone Yeka mantra vidhikriya Yeka deva sada yukta. In Kruta Yuga, every one of them followed what the Vedas have given, namely Narayana, Narayana, Narayana. Eka mantra vidhikriya. Avid, that is how the Kruta Yuga has flourished. None of the three gunas had their effect in Kruta Yuga. Not even Sattva Guna, not even Rajo Tamo Guna. And people did yajnas in plenty. Now let's come to Treta Yuga. In Treta Yuga, Dharma Devata was there only on 3 feet. 75% only they followed. When it came to Dwapara Yuga, Dharma Devata was reduced to be only 50%. Since people could not take the entire one single Vedam, it has to be divided into 4 Vedas: Rigvedam, Yajurvedam, Sama, Atharvana Vedas. And in Dwapara Yuga only, some people wanted to study all 4 Vedas, some people 3, 2, 1, like that. Now, there is a slight difference in understanding. One who is called a Chaturvedi means those people, not that they just read 4 Vedas, those people who followed Jyotishthamadi Karyas. Trivedi means not just those who did 3 Vedas. They were there following strictly Karma Yoga. Dvivedis means not they did studied 2 Vedas. They literally followed Sandhya Vandanadi Anushtanas. Yekavedis, not that they studied 1 Vedam. They only do Dhyanam. So that is how the spiritual meaning of Dvivedi, Trivedi changes. Because even in Dwapara Yugam, Vedas are not studied by all the people, and people started resorting to telling lies. Therefore, diseases started coming, calamities started coming from Dwapara Yuga onwards. Now comes Kali Yugam, where we are living. Dharma is there followed only 25%. This particular yuga is called Tamasa Yugam. Because of the Tamasa Yugam indicates darkness, darkness personified as a color black. Even Bhagavan has become Krishna Varna. People have forgotten about Vedadhyanam, Yajna Yagadi Kratus. People are there struggling for survival. Diseases will be there on the rise. Therefore, Kali Yuga is considered as the worst of the worst yugas. But the four yugas will keep going in a cycle. After Kali Yuga, Bhagavan Sriman Narayana, during Kali Yuga, Bhagavan Sriman Narayana will incarnate as Kalki and will establish Dharma to such an extent that Kruta Yugam itself will start. Therefore, we come across the Yuga Dharmas, why people are short lived, etc. in Kali Yuga. Now, Hanuman not only talks about the Yuga Dharmas, Hanuman also gives the greatness of Satyam. Everything in Mahabharata deals with Dharmam and Satyam. Now, Satyam, Hanuman is telling Bhima, Vijatinam Amrutam Dharmaha, Hyekaschaivaikalakshanah, Yajnadhyanadanani, Trayaha Sadharana Smritaha. If people are thinking that they had Yajnopavitam, they had Upanayana Samskaram, Hanuman is telling Bhima, let it be known to everyone, wearing a thread is just not for a show. Those people with the sacred thread must do their Yajna Yagadi Kratus ordained. They must do Veda Parayinam Swadhyayam. They must also do Danam. Yajna Acharyaji Danani Trayaha Sadharana Sprutaha. For those who want to follow the Brahminical Dharma, Yajnam Shatkarmas, Yajanam, Yajanam, Adhyayanam, Adhyapakatvam, Danam, Pratagrahitvam. Do yajnas themselves, officiate as priest for yajnas, study Vedas, teach Vedas, give Danam, give charity, accept charity, Danam Pratigrahitvam. Kshatriyas means only ruling the kingdom, ruling the people, establishing dharma. Vaishya Lakshanam, Pashu Samrakshanam. Hanuman is telling anybody who wants to follow dharma should stay away with the mean people. It is the mean people who will spoil the others also. Everything is possible if you follow Satyam. In Kali Yuga, the only thing that is there, the 25% of dharma that is followed, is there are still some people who go by Satyam. There is nothing as superior to Satyam. If they don't follow Satyam, Coming, sir. Coming. If they don't follow Satyam, the whole world will come to a very disastrous end. Just 1 second, Amma. 1 second. I'll just remove the papers and you can be seated here. I'm doing the class now. Dharma from Mahabharata. Just come in, Amma. Come in, both of you can sit. I'll remove the papers. Message పర్లేదమ్మా నేను అనొద్దు ఎప్పుడు వచ్చింది ఓకే నువ్వు ఎలా ఉందమ్మా ఆవిడెవరు వచ్చారు రెడ్డిపాలెం ఉంటారా ఎక్కడ ఉంటారమ్మా ఓకే ఓకే నేను చూస్తాను రెడ్డిపాలెంగా ఓకే బాగున్నారమ్మా కూర్చోండి కూర్చోండి Now, after Hanuman teaching about Dharma, after Hanuman taught about Dharma,
మా అక్క వాళ్ళ డాక్టర్ వేరే ఇంట్లోనే చదువుకుంది వచ్చారు చార్లెస్ రావద్దు వాడవద్దు పైకి చెప్పడం లేదు కానీ దగ్గర ఆటర్ని చాలా ఇదిగా పరిస్థితి ఇప్పుడు కొంచెం అంటే ఎంత జరిగింది చాలా
టైం ఉంటే కూర్చోండి టైం ఉంటే కూర్చోండి Sorry, ma, coming back to Narayana. When it comes to Hanuman, Bhima is asking one simple question to Hanuman. Hanuman, you are so powerful. How come you yourself did not kill Ravana? Bhima asked Hanuman a simple question. When you yourself is capable of killing Ravana, because you yourself said, Na Ravana sahasram me yuddhe pratipalam bhavet. Even if 1,000 Ravanas come, you can defeat them, you said. If that were to be the case, how come you did not kill Ravana? You know what could be the greatest reply of Hanuman? Yama, in of Yama.
He is not independent. He is Swatantra.
Not independent, Paratantram. Anything else, Amma?
Maybe Sita Devi did pratigna that Rama will kill Ravana.
Okay, now here comes the reply from Hanuman. Mayat nihate tasmin Ravane lokakantake kirtir nasyet Raghavasya tata etat upekshitam. If I have killed Ravana, the greatness of Rama will be reduced. Everybody will talk great about Hanuman who killed Ravana. People talking that Hanuman is so great because he could kill Ravana will automatically diminish the glory of my Lord Rama. Therefore, I did not do it. Look at the way what is Paratantriyam. Paratantriyam, complete dependence on the master. Yes, that day itself Hanuman could have killed Ravana, but he did not. A very, very beautiful explanation for all of us to follow Sharanagati, Paratantriyam, not to show off our independence, Swatantram is Maya tu nihate tasmin Ravane lokakantake kirtihi nashyet Raghavasya. The glory of Rama would have diminished. Tata etat upekshitam. That is why I upekshitam, I left Ravana go, so that Rama will kill him. That is why we have to follow what Mahatmas have said. Everything we do should be done to glorify the Supreme Lord. Now comes another great discussion Yudhishthira had with Nahusha. In Vanavasam, lots and lots of Maharshis Yudhishthira meets. And everywhere there is only a discussion on Dharma. Now, we are all having a peculiar feeling about who is a Brahmin, who is not a Brahmin. Whether we like it or not, in the discussions between Nahusha, who was there as a snake because of the curse, and Yudhishthira is explaining who will qualify as a Brahmana. Satyam, look at the very beginning itself, how Satyam, Dharmam, only two things. Satyam, Danam, Kshama, Sheelam, Andrushamsham, Tapo, Gruna, Dushyante, Yatra, Nagendra, Sab, Brahmana, iti smutaha. First and the foremost thing, quality of a Brahmana, Satyam, one who will not deviate from Satyam. Most often Brahmins are famous for receiving charity, accepting Dhanam. No, a Brahmana should be the first one to come forward and do Dhanam, not receive Dhanam, do Dhanam. Kshama, have patience. Vedyam sarpa param brahma nirdukkam asukam chayate. Somebody wants to be called as a Brahmana, Brahmajnaneti, one who is making every effort to realize who is that Parabrahma, the supreme authority. That person is a Brahmana. Now, Yudhishthira goes to one more extent. Not Satyam is not just for Brahmanas, for everyone who has taken birth, irrespective of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Satyam, Satyam, Satyam is the most important one. Now, Yudhishthira is giving a different kind of a thing which is much better and even appreciable. You know what he says? Even though a particular person is born in a Shudra family, but if he is following the qualities starting with a Satyam, etc., and even though if a person is born in a Brahmin family, if he is not following the qualities of Satyam, Dhammam, etc., that Shudra who follows Dharmam, Satyam, is much better than a Brahmin who is born in that family but doesn't follow Dharmam, Shaucham, etc. That particular person who follows Dharma, Dhamma, etc. only can be called a Brahmana. Born as a Brahmin but qualities wise not following is worse than a Shudra. Born as a Shudra but following Satyam, etc., is much better than a person who is just born as a Brahmana. Now, what is a Dharma Shastra saying? Here, Dharmaraja is talking about Swayambhuva Manu's Dharma Shastram, Manu Dharma Shastram. Manu Dharma Shastram says, Tavat Shudra Samohesha Yavat Vede Najayate Tasminnevam Matidvaidhe Manhu Swayambhuvo Abravit. A person may be born in a Brahmin family, but unless and until he has that Upanayana Samskaram, and unless and until he did that elementary study at least of the Vedas, he is not a Brahmin. And even such a person, if he is dead, suppose a child is born in a Brahmin family and died without having Upanayanam and without starting the Veda Adhyayanam, that person is to be treated not at all as a Brahmin. Even cremation should not be done for such people, only burial. Like other people who did not have Upanayana Samskaram will have burial. That clearly Dharma Shastra says, where in Mahabharata, Dharmaraja himself is telling to Nahusha, Repeatedly we are hearing in Mahabharata the greatness of Dharma. You all know how Nahusha ended up as a snake. Having done 100 Ashwamedha Yagas, having become Indra, against Dharma, desiring Shachi Devi, and trying to visit her palace in a pallaki that is carried by Mahatmas, Brahmarshis. When Maharshis were carrying Nahusha in a pallaki on their shoulders, Nahusha wanted to go as fast as he can to Shachi Devi, and he was commanding the Brahmarshis, Sarpa Sarpa, Sarpa Sarpa, make it fast, make it fast, make it fast, and to prod them. Nahusha sitting in the pallaki, to give instructions to the Brahmarshis. He even touched them with his foot. Just as if you know how to drive a bullock cart or a horse-drawn cart, they sometimes touch the animal with their feet also to indicate make it fast. That way, Nahusha touched Maharshis with his feet. Agastya Maharshi could not accept it and cursed him to become a snake. Nahusha, while falling down, begged Agastya for release from the curse. Mahatma Agastya said, Yudhishthira can relieve you from the curse. Now, having learnt Dharma from Yudhishthira, with the encounter itself between Nahusha and Yudhishthira, Nahusha's curse is gone and Nahusha goes back. Therefore, following Dharma, Yudhishthira can even release Nahusha from his curse. Then comes another Mahatma, Markandeya Maharshi, talking about Dharma on the Yuga Dharmas and how we can follow Dharma. Vanaparvam is having hundreds of chapters, everyone discussing various aspects of Dharma. While talking about the various Lakshanas, Markandeya Maharshi is telling Yudhishthira about how the Kali Yuga looks like. Now, in Kali Yuga, people will become so cruel. The minute they acquire some money, they feel no end of themselves. Even if other people might have kept their money or property for safe custody with some rich people, Rich people will afterwards, when they came to claim, they say, no, 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 you have never kept anything with me. Kali Yuga will be degrading to such an extent. Very young children will become parents. Kali Yuga's degradation starts when boys by age 12 will be fathering children and girls by age 8 will start delivering the babies. In Kali Yuga, cheating, a man cheating the wife and the wife cheating a man will become so common. And the only reason for people for living so short a life, hardly 120 years in Kali Yuga, is because of the sinful activities only. When sin reaches its zenith, the highest point, it will appear as though one sun will be manifesting as a 7 suns and will dry up all the water reservoirs like the rivers and even the oceans. When there is no moisture in the air and all water reservoirs are dried up, it looks as though everything is waiting for a small spark to start a fire and reduce everything to ashes. As though the heat wave is not enough, the winds will start. The winds will be so bad, they will be flaming more and more fires. The Agni called Samvartaka Agni will create havoc. Then the smoke that is accumulated from the fires will create unimaginable clouds, and the clouds with thunders, lightning will start pouring down. The pouring down will be to such an extent that everything will be flooded. In Kali Yuga Lakshanas, everything will be a calamity. And at the end of the Kali Yuga, people will become more and more and more sinful. For the sake of survival, there is no sin that they will not commit. And when the rains were there, flooding the whole world, Mahatma Markandeya is telling Yudhishthira, the whole world was inundated. I was the only one that is there surviving because I am a Chiranjeevi. I did not know where to go. I was swimming aimlessly in the vast sheet of water. To my great surprise, I saw a big banyan tree that is not yet submerged. On the top of that banyan tree, to a small branch of it, in a small cradle, I saw a divine child. I saw a divine child lying down on a banyan leaf, Vata Patrashayi. And that child was so mesmerizing. Even though he is looking like a child, I was thinking with all my divine powers who this child could be. Atasi Pushpavarnabha Srivatsa Krutabhushanaha Sakshat Lakshmya Iha Vasaha Sa Tada Pratibhati Me. Mahatma Markandeya is saying, immediately I could recognize him as Bhagavan Sriman Narayana because he is a Padma Patraksha, because he is a Srivatsa Chinna Bhushita. Atasi Pushpavarnabha, the one who is there of the body hue of Atasi flowers. Sakshat Lakshmya Iva Avasaha. The only person on whose chest Mahalakshmi can live constantly. That is, that Shriyah Patitvam is the most important one. Markandeya realized him as Sriman Narayana, Vatapatrashayi. That's what you pray, Kararavindena Padaravindam Mukharavinde Viniveshayantam Vatasya Patrasya Puteshayanam Balam Mukundam Manasasmarami. Markandeya literally dragged towards that little child, none other than Sriman Narayana. That little child said, "You are very tired, Markandeya. Come to me, take rest." And without Markandeya's knowledge, he was just dragged into to be very close to that boy. And immediately Markandeya, becoming a very small entity, even entered into the mouth of that little boy and went inside and had a universal form inside the stomach of that little boy. Markandeya had Vishwarupa Darshanam. And how long he was there? At least 100 years. Even though Markandeya was wandering everywhere inside the stomach of that little boy for 100 years, he could not even find the beginning or the end of that little boy. The only thing Markandeya could do was do Sharanagati to that Paramapurusha. Tatastamiva Sharanam Gatosmi Vidhivattada Varenyam Varadam Devam Manasa Karmanaivacha. To understand the Supreme Lord, there is no way I thought I can know him by my own efforts, even for 100 years having been traveling inside the stomach of that little boy. Therefore, for me to understand, the best way I thought is to surrender to him. Do Sharanagati. Same way he came out from the mouth of that little boy. That little boy was asking Markandeya, "Hey Mahatma Markandeya, Ushitaha Tvam Suvishrantaha Markandeya Bravihime." Hey Markandeya, did you see what are all the wonders you wanted to see? Did you have some rest at least? And what is Markandeya saying? Iha bhutva shishu sakshat kim bhavan avatishtate. Markandeya realized this little child is not a child. This little child is the Supreme Lord Bhagavan Sriman Narayana. Now comes Narayana himself is giving an explanation for his name Narayana. As Vatapatra Shahi, Narayana himself is giving an explanation. Apam Nara Idipura Sagnya Karma Krutam Maya Tena Narayanopi Vuktaha Mama Tat Tu Ayanam Sada. Bhagavan Narayana himself says, I gave the name Nara to these waters. It is like a huge tsunami. Everything is flooded. Everywhere water. I gave the word Nara to represent waters long time ago. And during the night time of Brahma, there is no creation. So the night time of Brahma, which is 4,320,000,000 years, since I have been residing on the waters, living on the waters for such a long time, I am called Narayana. One who is there lying on the waters for a long time, Narayana. Aham Narayano Nama Prabhavaha Shashvato Vyaha. And remember exactly what Veda says. Narayanat Brahma Jayate, Narayanat Rudro Jayate, etc. Again, Markandeya Maharshi is telling here, Aham Vishnu, Aham Brahma, Shakraschaham Suradipah, Aham Vaishnavano Raja, Yama Pretadipastada, Aham Shivascha Somascha, Kashyapoda Prajapatihi, Aham Dhata Vidhata Cha, Yajyaschaham Dujottama. Sriman Narayana himself is saying, just an amsha of mine is the Srishtikarta, Brahma, a small fraction, Indra, Kubera, Yama, Shankara, Surya, Kashyapa. Everything is me and me and me only. Varaham Rupamastaya, Mayeyam Jagati Pura. The one who became Varaha Rupa is myself. Bhagavan says, the Pralayakaraka Samvartaka Agni is my manifestation only. The Pralayakala, blazing sun, my manifestation only. The Pralayakala, winds, my manifestation only. Now, Bhagavan himself is saying, Shveta Kruta Yuge Varnaha, Pita Steta Yuge Mama, Rakto Dvaparama Sadhya, Krishna Kali Yuge Tadha. Bhagavan is also confirming to Markandeya That in Krita Yuga he is there in Shvetavarna, Treta Yuga as Pitavarna, Dvapara Yuga Raktavarna, Kali Yuga Krishnavarna. Trayo bhaga hyadharmasya tasmin kale bhavanti cha. In Kali Yuga, 75% is adharma, only 25% is dharma. That is the reason why we were all advised to do Sharanagati to attain moksha. That time, Maharshi Markandeya is telling Yudhishthira, Sa esha Krishno Varshneyaha Purana Purusho Vibhuhu. Hey Yudhishthira, the one I saw as that Vatapatrashayi, the one who described himself as Narayana, is a none other than this Paramatma Sri Krishna, this Vrishni Vamsha Sambhuta, this Srivatsalanchana, this Govinda. Adidevam Ayam Jishnam Purusham Pitavasasam. This Krishna is Adideva. Therefore, may we be fortunate enough to do that Sharanagati to Bhagavan Sri Krishna. As Markandeya Maharshi says. Now, we have another interesting episode about Dharma, where in the case of Dharma Vyadha teaching to Kaushika, we will come across Karmajahi Manushyanam Roga Nashyata Samshayah. Please be advised, may we not commit sins, because very clearly in the Dharma Nirnayam it says, whatever karmas we do, the Papa karmas, will haunt us in the form of diseases. The great Kaushika, a Brahmana, came to a butcher called Dharmavyadha, and Dharmavyadha is teaching about Dharma. This Dharmavyadha is such a Mahatma even though he is there doing the job of a butcher. When that Brahmana Kaushika asked Dharmavyadha, you talk about Dharma, in what way you think you are doing Dharma? By selling meat. You know what Dharmavyadha says? Mahatma, what you said is correct. It is because of my Purva Karma. I am born in this family of selling meat. The animal sacrifices are there meant only for yajnas, not physically killing, but the animal relinquishing its body. But nowadays, if people do the yajnas only for the meat of the animal that they are using in the name of yajnam, that is adharmam. Dharmavyadha says, in the previous birth, I was a very orthodox Brahmana, but unfortunately I made friends with a king. And when the king went for hunting, I also went and shot an arrow. And without my knowledge, I hit a sage, and that sage cursed me to be born in a family of a butcher. When I begged him for forgiveness for an unintentional mistake, that Mahatma said, even though you are born in a butcher family, you will still remember your previous janma and you will be able to teach dharma even to others. Therefore, our Purva Karma Phalam, Dharma Vyadha is talking to Kaushika. And people who want to follow Dharma should always try to Sache Nivrutta Bandhastu Vishuddhaschapi Karmabhihi. Dharma Vyadha says to Kaushika, not just talking about Dharma, following Dharma literally means one should develop Nivrutta Bandhastu. One should try for Bandha Vimochanam, to get out of the shackles that are there binding us together. Only when you develop Vairagyam, detachment, adharmam comes. What do I do with that money that I'm going to earn by wrong means? I'm not going to enjoy with anybody. What do I do with all the riches accumulated through adharmam? I'm not going to live here eternally. Only when that kind of vairagyam comes, people will not indulge in adharmam. If that detachment doesn't come, people will continue to do adharmam only. Therefore, if people want to get out of it, one must develop detachment. A very beautiful explanation in Mahabharata about why people cannot follow dharma. Now comes the famous topic in Mahabharata called Yaksha Prashna, everything in Vanaparvam of Mahabharata. As you know, Yudhishthira with his 4 brothers were walking, very thirsty, saw something green over there. Yudhishthira sent Sahadeva to bring some water. That Yaksha guarding that lake said, if you drink that water without my permission, without answering my questions, you will be dead. Sahadeva didn't care and drank and fell down. Didn't come back. Dharmaraja got suspicious, sent Nakula, same fate for Nakula. Sent Arjuna, same fate for Arjuna. Sent Bhima, again Bhima also, same fate. Yudhishthira finally came. The Yaksha showed all the 4 brothers lying down on the floor. Yudhishthira, if you don't answer my question and you drink the water, you will also be like that. Yudhishthira was a sensible person. All right. Since you say this is your lake and my brothers didn't obey your commands and they lied down here, and I have to answer your questions, please go ahead. I will try to answer your questions as best as I can. Now again, first question from Yaksha. What is it that makes the sun rise? What is it that makes the sun set? And how is it that the sun is there so much punctual, dedicated? Yudhishthira says, Sir, it is the Supreme Lord Sriman Narayana, Parabrahma, who makes the sun rise and sun set. And since you asked, what is it that makes the sun so meticulous, so punctual? Satyam. Dharmaschastan nayati cha satye cha pratitishthati. That Surya and his movement is controlled only by Satyam. See? Yaksha asked, how can a person become a Shrotriya? How can he become great? How can he become intelligent? Yudhishthira says, only with the knowledge of Veda, somebody can become a Shrotriya. Only by constant meditation, somebody can become a Mahatma. And as far as intelligent, only by serving great Acharyas, one will learn Dharma to become great. Yaksha asked, what is it that makes a Brahmana great? Yudhishthira's reply, Vedadhyayanam, Swadhyayam esham devattam, tapa esham satamiva. Swadhyayam, Veda Adhyayanam alone can make a Brahmana great. And Dhyanam, constant meditation on the Supreme Lord only, is the Dharma. After asking about the other Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudras, etc., Yaksha is asking a question. What is common for everyone, irrespective of whether he is a Brahmana, Kshatriya, or anyone? Yudhishthira's reply, Devata adidivruchanam pitrunam atmavashyeha na nirvapati panchanam vuchasvan nasajivati. For everyone who is a human being, respecting Devi Devatas, giving food to the guests, taking care of the family, doing the Pitrukaryas, these are ordained duties which they cannot ignore. If they do not do the Pitrukaryas, etc., even though they are living, they are considered as the dead who are living. Spiritually dead, but physically living. Yaksha is asking, what is heavier than earth? What is higher than the sky? What is faster than the wind? And what is lighter than a blade of grass? Yudhishthira very beautifully replies, Mother is much, much superior even compared to Mother Earth. That is why Matrudevo Bhava. A mother is considered to be much superior if compared to Earth. And the father is considered to be much higher than the sky. That's why Pitrudevo Bhava. Faster than the wind, mind is faster than the wind. Control your mind, you can focus on Bhagavan. What is lighter than blade of grass? Our unnecessary brooding over things is a waste. Therefore, do not think about unnecessary things. Yaksha is asking, who is your friend when you are there in a far off place? When you are there as a family man, if you are sick or if you are about to die, who do you think is your best friend? Yudhishthira is saying, when you are there at a far off place, your companion, the fellow traveler, the neighbor, your only friend. And if you are there in a family, remember your spouse is your best friend. As grihasthas, follow your dharma. Treat your spouse, wife or husband as your best friend. If you are sick, consider the doctor to be your best friend. Follow his advice. And if somebody is going to die, the only thing that can save him is a dhanam. Dhanam. We cannot take our money with us after our death. But if you use that money for charity, that punya karma will come with you and will give you extended stay in Swardaloka. That's why they say Dhanam is your best friend. Yaksha is asking various questions. What is the residing place of Dharma, fame, Swargam, happiness? Now Yudhishthira's reply, where there is a Dharma is where there is dakshata. Dakshata means capability to execute a job properly. One who can execute a job properly means only if you follow dharma you can do that. Fame is only through dhanam. Want to attain swargam, satyam only. And you want to be happy, integrity is the only thing that can make you happy. For what are the grihastha dharmas? Yudhishthira is replying, a person should consider his her son as their atma. Atma vai putra namasi. Best friend in a family life is the spouse. Husband for the wife, wife for the husband. Best friend. How can you survive? Depending on the rains. If there is rain, there are crops, you will have food. And the one that can protect you is your dhanam. Now, Yaksha asks, what is the greatest dhanam that you can give? Because what is the greatest wealth? Yudhishthira says, your knowledge is your greatest wealth. Distribute knowledge, distribute knowledge. . What is the greatest dharma? Daya. Show compassion to every living entity. What will give you good results? Following the Vedic Dharma. How to avoid misery? That is in your hands. Control your mind. You will not be going through misery. Now, Yaksha is asking, what is happening to the world? Is it enveloped in something? Yudhishthira says, yes. Ignorance is the layer. Ignorance is like a layer that is covering up the Satyam, the Dharmam. Therefore, drive away your ignorance. Go to Satpurushas, go to Acharyas, learn from them what is Jnana. Yaksha is asking, what is tapasya? Yudhishthira's reply, Swadharma Acharanam is a tapasya. Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, Swadharme nidhanam shreyaha paradharmo bhayavaha. What is a jnanam? Yaksha's question. Paratattva jnanam is the real knowledge. Adhyatma vidya vidyanam. Paratattva jnanam is the real knowledge. Who is the most invincible enemy that you can never win over? Who is that enemy who can defeat you always? Very simple reply from Yudhishthira. Our own anger. Nobody is able to control their anger. And the one incurable disease is our greediness. Our anger is our worst enemy. Our greediness is the most uncurable disease. Question, who is a sadhu? Is a person wearing saffron robes a sadhu? Yudhishthira's reply, sadhu is the one who will always think of others, how to help them to attain salvation. The only one who is a sadhu is who will think of others, how to help them attain salvation. Who is the learned scholar? Yudhishthira's reply, one who follows dharma. Dharmajnaha pandito jneyaha. Dharmajnaha, one who follows dharma, who knows and follows dharma, is the real scholar. Now, Yaksha is asking, do you know there is a Narakam called Akshaya Narakam? Akshaya Narakam means it is an endless Narakam. If you are there in that Akshaya Narakam, you do not know how long you will stay there. Time is almost like static, endless. What is Akshaya Narakam? The reply will surprise you. If you promise somebody something, if you promise somebody something, and when that person is asking you, the person who promised says, I'm not going to give you, I never promised. That kind of people will enter a narakam called Akshayam. Because you promised, that person had so much of hopes on you that you will give. And he came to you with the hope that you promised to give, so you will give. And when you turn around and say, when did I promise you? I'm not going to give you anything. That will make that other person so depressed, so low, that the person who cheated will end up in a narakam called Akshaya Narakam. Now comes the next question from Yaksha. How can a person be happy? Which person is happy? A person may not be very rich. He may have a special item for his lunch or dinner, maybe once a week or so. But if you do not have any loan, any debt, you are the happiest person. According to Yudhishthira, if you don't have a debt, you are the happiest person. Question: what is the most surprising thing? What is the most surprising thing? Yudhishthira's reply: Ahanyahani bhutani gacchanti yamalayam seshamasthavaramicchanti kimascharyamatapparam. A very famous reply from Yudhishthira. The most surprising thing in the world, every day people look around and see hundreds and thousands of people are dying every day. But when it comes to themselves, people are feeling that they are going to live forever. Even though there is death everywhere around, people feel when it comes to themselves, they are immune to death and they are going to live forever and will make plan after plan for the next 1,000 years. That is the most surprising thing. A real test for Yudhishthira. Yaksha said, I'm happy with your replies, especially about the most surprising thing about Satyam, etc. Very happy. Of the 4 brothers that are there dead, I can revive only one brother. Choose which brother you want me to revive. Unhesitatingly, Yudhishthira said, revive Nakula. The Yaksha got surprised and asked, why are you asking for Nakula? Now you are in Vanavasam, then Ajñatavasam, then your stake for the kingdom, Duryodhana refusing, you have to fight. Bhima is the strongest one to fight who can kill Duryodhana. You could have asked for Bhima to be revived, hero who can wipe out 18 Akshauhinis. You could have asked for Arjuna. Instead of asking for Bhima or Arjuna, why did you ask only Nakula to be revived? Now comes the most famous verse that you always chant. Dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. Those of you listening, make a note of it, sir. Mahabharatam, Vanaparvam, 313th chapter. Mahabharatam, Vanaparvam, 313th chapter, verse number 128. Dharma eva hatu hanti dharmo rakshati rakshitaha tasmat dharmam natyajami mano dharmo hato vadet. This dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. Now you understand why dharma, dharma, dharma. Yudhishthira says, you don't take care of dharma, dharma will not take care of you. You take care of dharma, dharma will protect you. Therefore, never, never renounce dharma. You ask me why I asked for Nakula. Yudhishthira is replying, as much as I love my mother Kunti, I equally love my other mother Madri also. As Yudhishthira I am surviving, at least my mother will be happy that one of her sons is surviving. I do not want my other mother Madri to feel bad her children are not surviving. Let my other mother be also be happy. Let Nakula survive. Therefore, my mother Madri will also be happy. In spite of the Kurukshetra war looming, and Yudhishthira asking for not for Bhima, not for Arjuna to be revived, but for Nakula to be revived, shows the magnanimity of Yudhishthira, and that Yaksha, none other than his own father Yamadharmaraja, revived all four brothers. Yamadharmaraja, when he revealed himself, Yudhishthira was asking, 12 years of Aranyavasam is almost over. 13th year Ajnatavasam. Please suggest where we can live. Yamadharmaraja is advising Yudhishthira, go to Virata's kingdom. Live unrecognized. And with my blessings, nobody will recognize you. Whichever form you want to have, I will bless you that you will get that form instantly. Now Yamadharmaraja is telling Yudhishthira, you are my son. Vidura is my Amsha. Ask whatever you want, I'll give you. You know what Yudhishthira is asking? Since you are my father and you wanted to bless me that I will never, never become a slave to greediness. Bless me, I should be able to overcome my anger. Bless me, that my mind will always be focused on Satyam, Dharmam, Tapasya, and Dhanam. Great qualities of Yudhishthira. Now, to conclude for the day about Dharma, let's go to the Dharmam as practiced by or as explained by Vidura to Dhritarashtra. Vidura to Dhritarashtra. With that topic, at least we can stop for the day. Vidura Neeti. How Vidura is telling Dhritarashtra what is a dharma. A very, very lengthy topic. A very lengthy topic in Udyoga Parvam. Pandavas, 1 year of Ajnatavasam is almost over. War is imminent. Dhritarashtra is getting restless. Requested for Vidura's presence. Dhritarashtra is begging Vidura to teach him what is Dharma. Vidura Neeti extends over a long time. Sometimes the questions are very, very materialistic also. It starts from materialistic things and goes to spiritual things. One of the questions of the Dhritarashtra and Vidura's reply was, who is a stupid? Who is a stupid? Indirectly, Vidura says, you are the stupid to Dhritarashtra. But he does it in a very delicate way. The one who is not pleasing the Pitru Devatas, the one who is not doing the daily Aradhana, the one who is not having a good friend is a stupid. Indirectly, your brother Panduraja is dead. Are you doing justice to him? Krishna is the Paramapurusha. Are you worshipping him? Best friend, I advise you even during the time of gambling. Did you listen? You don't even have a best friend whom you respect. Therefore, you are the stupid. See how Vidura, in a very delicate way, is telling the king. Dhritarashtra is asking, who is the most cruel fellow? Vidura Neeti says, Ekaha Sampannam Ashnati Vaste Vasascha Shobhanam Yo Samvibhajya Bhrutyebhyo Ko Nrishamsastarastataha. The person who will not give food to the people who are depending on him, the person who enjoys wonderful clothes but will not even give nice clothes to the people depending on him, one who eats everything without sharing it with others is the most cruel fellow. Now, Dhritarashtra is asking, Vidura, they say there is lot of dharma in just the plain numbers. In just the plain numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What are they? What are they? Vidura is giving a very commonplace way of understanding or a spiritual way of understanding. He says, with the one, namely your intelligence, try to know the two, namely what is to be done, what is not to be done. Know who are your enemies, who is your friend and who is neutral. Use the 4 techniques, Samadana, Bheda, Dandopayas. Control the 5 senses. Try to follow the 6 principles, Sandhi, Vigraham, Yana, Asana, Dvaidhi, Bhava, Samashraya. Renounce 7, weakness for a woman, weakness for hunting, weakness for gambling, weakness for alcohol, weakness for abusing, weakness for punishing others, weakness for wasting money. Sapta Vyasanas. If you understand 1 to 7, you will be happy. Material life, spiritual life, Ekaya, focusing only on that Parabrahma. Dve, know the 2 paths. One will bring you back, another will never bring you back. Pravritti Nivritti Margas. Train, Dharma, Artha, Kamas, only for material, not for moksha. Chaturbhi, never leave the 4 things, Yajnam, Ajjayanam, Dhanam and Tapasya. Pancha, overcome the 5 enemies, the 5 Jnanendriyas and the 5 Karmendriyas. Shat, be victorious over the 6 enemies, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. Sapta, remember the body made up of the Sapta Dhatus, namely Tvak, Charma, Rudhira, Mamsa, Medo, Majja, Asti. Body is not eternal. Realize that spiritual meaning of it. Good behavior. Never eat all tasty food by yourself. Share it with others. Indirectly, the Rajabhogas you are enjoying. Big mistake, Dhritarashtra. Share it with Pandavas. Never take unilateral decisions. Consult with great learned scholars and follow their advice. Indirectly, Dhritarashtra, you are not following Dharma. You are taking your decisions influenced by the threats of your son Duryodhana. Not correct. Dhritarashtra, you said you have no peace of mind. Remember, you are in the middle of an ocean. If you want to cross the ocean, you need to have a very sturdy boat. A very sturdy boat that will not be toppled by whales. A very sturdy boat that can withstand the high waves. A sturdy boat that can safely take you to the shore. Remember that the safe boat is nothing other than Satyam. Ekamaiva advitiyam yat rajannava buddhyase Satyam swargasya sopanim para varasya nauriva. Just as a very nice boat is needed to cross the ocean, Satyam is the only reliable boat to cross the ocean of samsara. Dhritarashtra, you asked, what is the best thing that will give you all wonderful results? Very simple, Dhritarashtra. Yeko dharmaha param shreyaha. Your question, Dhritarashtra, what gives you eternal happiness? Param shreyaha, divine happiness. Dharma. Eko dharmaha. Dharma pravartana is the only one. Now, Dhritarashtra, you asked about who are the two worst people. You are asking about who are the two worst people. You know what Vidura says? The one who is looking for another man's wife, or the one looking for other woman's husband, are the worst people. What reference this has got to do with Vidura and Dhritarashtra? Indirectly, Vidura is telling Dhritarashtra, Draupadi is the wife of Pandavas. Your son wanted to have Draupadi. Your son is desiring another man's wife. That is the worst fellow. Get rid of him. Okay, agreed. A man desiring another man's wife is the worst fellow. But what connection is there that a woman thinking of another woman's husband, a woman thinking of another woman's husband, what connection is that? Can you take 1 minute and come up with an answer, Amma? 1 second. Any one of you? In Vidura Neeti, indirectly, what is Vidura trying to convey? Amma, any one of you, Ma? Hello? Are you there, sir? Or am I cut off?
No, yes, Swamiji.
Listening.
Vidura says the man who is thinking of another man's wife is the worst fellow. And equally, he says the woman who is thinking of another woman's husband is the worst woman. Okay, Duryodhana thinking of Draupadi, we all know, so worst fellow. What is the reference to the second one Vidura is telling?
Again, referring to Draupadi having 5 husbands, right?
Draupadi is Pativrata.
Yeah. But but
So,
Duryodhana wants.
indirectly, he is referring to, remember Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra could not even imagine that. Great Acharyas have revealed this Vidaraniti in a different way. That day, during during the humiliation of Duryodhana in Mayasabha, Duryodhana fell down, thinking that there is no water, and he fell into a lake. He got his clothes wet. Draupadi laughed. So to humiliate Draupadi, Duryodhana asked a question when they were having dinner. Draupadi, which husband are you serving this year? And all the 100 brothers sitting with him laughed. Draupadi was crying and crying. Krishna prompted her, go and tell. Nakula knows. She could have said Nakula, but she said Nakula knows the truth. Indirectly conveying this year I am under the care of Nakula, or indirectly remember when your wife disrobed herself. Nakula, a mongoose waiting to catch a snake, saw your wife naked. Indirectly, your wife Bhanumati, Duryodhana's wife, had desire for Nakula, my husband. That much Krishna conveyed by using one word Nakula. And he could not even understand. Duryodhana could not think his wife Bhanumati is thinking of Nakula. Duryodhana did not know what is that mongoose Nakula called. He was just so sad after returning. Bhanumati asked why he is so sad. He said the same thing. Then Bhanumati explained she was sitting and meditating before a Turasi Vanam. A snake was there sitting on her pallu, on her sari that is there on the ground. So afraid. If it disturbs the snake, it may bite, and there is a mongoose there waiting in front to kill the snake. Because I am there, mongoose is not coming. If I move, mongoose will come. If I move, snake will bite. What to do? Not to disturb the snake, Bhanumati decided to remove her sari and ran naked into the palace. And when she was running naked, the mongoose, which is a male, Nakula, saw her naked. That much is implied. Bhanumati said, nobody was there. I do not know why Draupadi or how Draupadi came to know that I was naked even before a male animal. Is that what she meant? My goodness, Duryodhana thought, if Draupadi is so smart or Krishna prompted that my wife was seen naked by a mongoose, nobody knows it. After all, it is a mongoose. Let me make Draupadi naked before the whole assembly. So indirectly prompting even Bhanumati is having a crush on Nakula. Dharma is very different. Vidura is saying, the person who is thinking of another man's wife and the lady who is thinking of another man's husband are the worst ones. Dvavimau purusha vyaghra para prachayakarinau striyaha kamita kaminyaha loka pujita pujakaha. Now, who is the richest person? Vidura is telling Dhritarashtra, Dhritarashtra, you are thinking, you have money, you have the kingdom, you have 100 sons. No, no, Dhritarashtra. You could not win over your 6 enemies. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. Therefore, you are not a winner. You are not a rich person. You are the poorest of the poor who is controlled by your 6 enemies. Next question. Dhritarashtra, you are not following Dharma because you are not controlling your son. What is wrong with your son? He has become a slave to 7 weaknesses. The 7 weaknesses of your son are Stree, interested in Draupadi; Judam, used gambling to defeat Yudhishthira; hunting, in the pretext of hunting, they went there to humiliate Pandavas and got humiliated. Madhyam, Duryodhana is accustomed to drinking. Parusha Bhashanam, Duryodhana used very, very unparliamentary words, giving undue punishment. Duryodhana gave undue punishment to his own maternal uncles and his grandfather. Wasting money. Your son, expecting a war with Pandavas to win, he is spending money lavishly on other kings and other supporters. These are 7 weaknesses your son has. Control him. Vidura went on to explain dharmas at various levels. Who are the people who are prone to make mistakes? The one who is drunk, the one who is not careful, the one who is mentally unstable, the one who is tired, the one who gets angry, the one who gets hungry, the one who is there in a hurry for everything, the one who is a miser, and the one who is desiring always a sense gratification, and the one who is scared of Satyam. These are the 10 people who will not follow Dharma. Now, to give a small example, Vidura is telling a story. Once upon a time, Prahlada was asked to say what is a Dharma. Prahlada had a son by name Virochana. Virochana had an argument with a scholar, a great Maharshi's son Sudhanva. Both of them came asking Prahlada for mediation. They said, who is great among we two? Prahlada gave the Dharma Nirnayam. Virochana, compared to you, Sudhanva is great. Compared to me, Sudhanva's father is great. Compared to your mother, Sudhanva's mother is Pativrata. In every respect, Sudhanva is great. Don't compete with Sudhanva. Sudhanva was surprised at the Dharma Nirnayam of Prahlada. Vidura gives this incident to Dhritarashtra, indicating, look, Dhritarashtra, you know Yudhishthira is a million times better than your son Duryodhana. You know Yudhishthira's mother Kunti is a million times better than your wife Gandhari. You know Yudhishthira's father Pandu renounced the whole kingdom, gave you and went to the Himalayas. And you, having obtained the kingdom, treated Pandavas in the most forbidden way. Therefore, follow the example of Prahlada. See how he gives. Vidura Neeti, getting almost 7:30, Amma. If you have a quick question, make it, and then we will go. Amma, any quick questions, Amma, you have?
So, yeah, Acharyaji, there is some question here. So, bad karma in the form of disease, whether in the birth or next birth, whether it's
Previous verse, Purva Janma Krutam Papam. Whatever sins we committed in our previous birth are haunting us in this life as diseases. So if we are bad in this life, we will have to reap the consequences in next birth.
and the next comment or question is, so following dharma, following being honest and truth is not entertained, right? In this world, in today's world, if you just be honest and truth, I mean, those are the people who are hurt the most or are not able to actually, and in other words, become successful. We see that a lot of people who are not doing that are getting successful. How do we follow this in this Kali Yuga?
We are talking about two different coordinate systems. One coordinate system I am talking about is the spiritual coordinate system. And the other coordinate system the other gentleman is asking is about the material coordinate system, material world coordinate system. In the material world, the people who are cheating, the people who are lying, the people who are hurting others are successful. But the people who are honest, they are going through difficulties. That is in the material world. But in the spiritual world, the person who is following Dharma is elevated to moksha. But the person who is cheating here and who is happy here, he is pushed to hell. So, the coordinate systems are different. If you are interested in the material world, follow whatever coordinates you want. If you are interested in the spiritual world, follow the coordinate system that will take you to the higher worlds. That's how it is. So we cannot compare the material world happiness, etc., to the spiritual world happiness, because this material world happiness is very, 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 very temporary. whereas the spiritual world is eternal. There is a difference there. We are
So
talking about two different entities.
got it, Swamiji. But when we are now, we have to live in this world, and we have to live for the and earn for the family and all that stuff. How do we ensure we follow dharma and be in this materialistic world while without breaching dharma?
Without breaching dharma again and again, you saw there, dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. Yes, you have to take care of your family. Yes, you have to feed your children. Yes, that dharma will provide you for your food, your family, your children, your living. That dharma will never, never leave you. The only thing people do adharma is for satisfying their false ego, that money will give them protection, power will give them protection, that false hopes. But the real dharma, the real hope is from dharma only. To think that money will protect us, power will protect us is not correct. Only dharma will protect us, even in the material world. Go ahead, Amma. Another question, Amma. Sorry, Amma, Mahabharata is a very, very long topic. We'll continue with Vidura Neeti and also conclude maybe in a couple of topics, Amma, Narayana. Any other question, Amma Mala?
No more questions on the chat. If anybody wants to ask, you can quickly ask. Funny, do you want to ask a question?
I think Acharyaji dropped off.
Oh,